Hello, I am Devina, and hello to all of you, very bold, beautiful, brilliant, and evolving souls. Today, I'm going to talk about the scapegoat, and hopefully, you can't hear that construction in the background. Scapegoating, I believe, is one of the, if not the most, damaging kinds of abuse, emotional, psychological abuse that a child can endure. And it is so extremely hard to come out of this kind of brainwashing, this kind of severe wounding. Um, and the more I come out of it, the more I realize just how how wretched that my parents made me feel, just how worthless and despicable and unlovable that I felt in that family. And the more I name this shame, the more I can get distance from it and realize that that is not me. That is what they made me believe in order for them to maintain their denial, to maintain their status quo, where they got to abuse me, where they got to be dominant and in control and feel superior because that's what the narcissists want. They don't care about having a relationship with their children. All they care about is control. They have no idea how to really connect in a meaningful way, on an emotional level or a spiritual level with their children, and especially with the scapegoat. All the children are abused and shamed and blamed, but the scapegoat gets the mother load of the shame and the blame, as you probably already know. And I think the key thing is that, I don't know, whenever, like yesterday, the shame and the blame just like washed over me. It was just overwhelming. Like I was in it. Like I was like believing it's true. And I think that's in order to experience the flashback, we kind of need to feel that it's true. We need to feel ashamed. We need to feel guilty, because those are the two main feelings, that the shame and the self blame or the guilt that that we that was put on us every time our parents should have been feeling the shame, should have been feeling the guilt. They put it on us instead. Um, and yes, it is necessary to repeat, unless, well, at least I find I need to repeat this over and over to myself every day. Like I was abused. I was a victim of narcissistic abuse. This is what they did to me. I was the scapegoat of my family. And I sometimes, you know, I think even just believing that I really was the scapegoat, um, is is something that is still coming. But this morning, I had this clarity, like that, like just um, how this false reality was built, and that, my narcissistic parents, especially my mother, had built this reality that, she was great and I was, the problem, the defective one, the difficult one, whatever she wanted to label me as, just the bad seed or whatever. And of course they'll deny that. But yeah, the just this, they really, through their, of course, through their manipulation tactics, the gaslighting, the tremendous amount of gaslighting and shaming that they put you through, the blaming, um, puts you in this entirely different, like, paradigm where you truly believe as a child that that's who you are, that you are despicable, that you are worthless, that you are unlovable. And you had to believe this. It's the only way you could survive that family because you knew, some part of you knew that they would discard you in a second, in a blink of an eye. They would discard you in some way, either punishing you more, withholding care, or completely abandoning you and, throwing you out of the house or putting you off to boarding school or whatever, something to just get rid of you so that you're not, um, disturbing, because you brought up their shame incredibly because you were exceptional. You're an exceptional little person, as a child. And I know as a nanny how much shame that it can actually a child can bring up, so much shame because they're so innocent and pure, and you see this being that's so, and if you're not dealing with that, and narcissists of course aren't even aware that they have shame, they're just piling it on their child. They're just piling it on that scapegoat in particular, heaps and heaps of shame, so that that child feels like they are nothing. And as I said, the child knows somehow in their soul that their parent will throw them under the bus in order to maintain their sense of goodness, their sense that I am a good parent, I'm doing a good job. Look at me, I'm so awesome, right? And a narcissist cannot look at their shortcomings. They cannot look at their weaknesses. It is impossible for them to do so. Um, so yeah, you lived in this reality, their reality. They forced you to believe in their reality where they were good and you were bad, instead of the actual reality where it's the opposite. And I don't like using the word good and bad so much, but in this way, I think from a child's point of view and from the narcissistic's point of view, everything is good and bad. So that's what you learned. Mother is good, I am bad. And when really the reverse is true, right? I am good. My mother's doing very bad things, and the more I again tell myself, oh, I feel despicable because people did despicable things to me. It's understandable that I feel this way. And the more I tell myself that, then I realize the impact. So it's not just I am shameful, I am a horrible person, I am bad. No, this is a lie, right? This is the lie that we were forced to believe. Um, so when we make that connection, and when you say to yourself, yeah, I feel shameful, or I feel weak, or I feel like a loser because my mother made me feel that way, because these are the things she said to me that made me feel this way, that I felt like a failure, like I felt like I couldn't cope with the world, or I felt like I wasn't resilient enough. Um, and they will heap on all sorts of shame onto you because they have so much shame, so much self-hatred. And as I said, like it's literally like your your mind, your body has been put into another like paradigm, this other reality where you are the shameful one. This is what um, you are brainwashed to believe. And coming out of this is extremely hard because we are so wounded as the scapegoat, so incredibly wounded. And to get out of this, you need to just keep believing in your truth. This is how you get out of the lie of that reality, is to keep believing in your truth, to keep validating yourself, and to keep making bold moves, even if you don't know where that's going. If you're moving in a healthy direction, it's the right direction. I came back to Canada from Japan, and I had no idea what laid in front of me and no plan whatsoever. But I knew I had to come back to get my body back to a place of health. And so I made that leap of faith. I also made a leap of faith when I left my husband. I had no idea where I was going. I didn't even have a home. I only was working a part-time job. No idea. But I just left, I just like, okay, this is unhealthy. I am leaving. I'm out of here. And it took me, years to like get to that point. But, um, then you are free. And then finally going no contact with my family 4 years ago, and going no contact with my whole family. And I do believe it's necessary, in order to heal from scapegoat abuse, to go no contact with your whole family, because they're all subconsciously in on this plot. It's like a conspiracy, really. So it's, you're going to sound like a crazy person to talk about this, but you're not. You're really not. So it's hard. It's really hard to follow your truth and to make these bold moves and to just keep moving in accordance to your integrity, in accordance to what you know is healthy for you, and keep making healing a priority in your life, because this is the way to freedom. And when you go no contact with your parents, this is a major step to freedom, because now you are no longer in that dysfunctional family system where you played that role of being shameful, despicable, wretched, a loser, whatever. Um, so getting out of that, if you imagine, it's like a cult, really. If you're born into a cult and you're made to believe that, you're stripped of your identity and you're made to believe you're nothing, then you need to get out of there. That's the first step to getting free from the narcissistic cult, and the first step to putting yourself back together, or more like just shedding all the stuff that wasn't you, all the wounds that aren't you, and this is so key, that you are not the pain, you are not the shame, you are not the trauma that your parents caused you. There is a person underneath there, a person like this child part of you is there, this true self who is shiny and bright and beautiful and intelligent and intuitive. And I know that many of these things are already coming through you. It's like that song, that true colors, um, and your true colors are starting to like shine through. And during the healing process, and especially during the really hardest years, you're probably gonna feel like a piece of shit. You're probably gonna feel crappy. I feel crappy right now. I feel like a worthless piece of shit, but I can say this now and know it's not true. Say it like it's not me. There's still maybe a little bit going, oh, it might be true. And I'm like, no, it's not true. Right. So more and more this denial comes off. Um, and it is really hard to follow your truth, because following your truth and being authentic felt dangerous, felt extremely dangerous, felt like you were going to die if you were going to be authentic, because fawning kept you alive. Fawning helped you to survive the most the most brutal kind of psychological abuse. That's how you got through, by fawning, by going along, by conforming, by complying to all the unspoken rules of your family. So being honest with yourself, being truthful, being authentic, um, um, living according to your integrity feels so scary, feels terrifying, feels like you're gonna die. And so it's horrifying to do this. And I still think I can't see my life past like 2 months from now. I am horrified, but I know this is the only way for me to go, because I can't go back to fawning anymore. It feels so bad to fawn. I can't do it. I mean, I do it as an auto response, but then I look back and I'm like, no, 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 like I can't do that anymore. Um, so I guess I just wanted to like sort of get this message across for you to you today, that um, you know, you were not this shameful person that your whole family made you believe you were. Um, in particular, of course, your that kind of main narcissistic parent that you had. They put you in that role, and you had no choice but, you know, to go along with that. And breaking free, as I said, is tremendously hard and painful, and it feels like you're gonna die almost all the time. And it's just like, just keep getting up and getting through the emotions and getting through the next day, is, it's hard just getting through a day, as you know. Um, And I wanted to also recommend a movie that I've seen. I saw it quite a while ago, but it came back to my mind this morning. It's called Don't Worry, Darling. And I think it really captures the idea of the scapegoat, the truth teller, the whistleblower who says this isn't right, something's wrong here, and the gaslighting that then happens. And I just think it was a really powerful movie for me to watch. And when I remember that, I kind of remember what I'm doing and where I'm going. Um, and we are getting free. That's what we're doing. We are getting free by healing and by, reprogramming our minds, getting free from this, horrific kind of abuse, this extremely damaging brainwashing that we were forced to endure. And as I said, you're going to feel like a crazy person, as I sometimes feel like a crazy person. Um, but you're not. You're not. You're on the right track. You know deep in your soul what you're doing, where you're going. You're going the right way. Um, so follow your truth, follow your integrity, and follow what is healthy. And as always, I am wishing you so many blessings on your journey of healing and awakening. And if you have any comments, questions, or you just want to share, I would love to hear from you. And thank you for listening. I'm Devina at Boldness Blooming.